There are 5 things that I did as a dungeon master that helped me. I'm not saying it made me a better dungeon master, but it allowed me not to lose my mind in the planning and the prep and all the things that go into it. The first thing was I planned in bullet points. I never wrote anything in full. It was a bullet point of what a shopkeeper thought, what his motivations were, what the king was trying to accomplish, what the background looked like, what the every room in bullet points, what were the key things to note in a room. If they rolled a high investigation check, what would I tell them in 1 or 2, possibly 4 words? I never wrote down a ton of information because the more I wrote down, the harder that it became for me. I didn't care so much about the rules. As in, yes, the rules were there. Yes, I had the player's handbook. Yes, I had the Dungeon Master Guide. Yes, I looked at them often, but I didn't need the game to follow the rules. If something happened, the rule of cool was there, and it wasn't because they were trying to do something cool, it's because narratively it fit, meaning that it wasn't just cool, it was the players were trying to do something. Just because the rules didn't clearly outline, I allowed to happen to keep the flow of the game going. I made the call there. It was what the players were looking for. And then I would write those things down afterwards just to see what the rule actually looked like. I always wanted to grow as a dungeon master, so whenever I have a question or if I wasn't certain on something, I would do that. Whenever a player questioned me, I'd say, okay, does it matter right now or can we look it up later? Well, this is how I kind of built my character. I was like, okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break right now. We're going to figure this one out. Is there any other things we need to figure out? I didn't have a problem just figuring out those things, but I wasn't concerned with it. If it moved the game forward, then we rolled with it. And it's not the rule of cool. It doesn't make sense, right? Because there's only so much the rules can actually give you. When you care more about following the rules, your game comes to a screeching halt. The rules can be wrong. As a table, as long as you agree with how it's rolling, that's really what matters. Set your expectations and talk to your players in and outside of the game. This is something that it should seem second nature, but it's not. We assume that people are doing things for reasons that we have no idea. And so I talked to my players outside. I asked them what they wanted from their characters, what they were trying to accomplish, not in game, not in character, but what did that player want? And that gave me something to put in front of them. I always knew what my players were striving for the characters. Half the time, my players didn't know when we began the game. That's the key, is that this is not just a one-time conversation, because as your characters develop, as they grow, so do your players. So do your players' understanding of those characters. And by never be locked into a trajectory so hard that I couldn't deviate, we always made sure that we were in alignment with each other as both players and dungeon masters. And probably the best thing for me was the willingness to push my characters forward, to make them make a decision, what be bad or good in combat, making them act quickly. In social situations, you guys can't have this conversation here. You need to make the call. It led to some really cool movement.